These guys have to be theater kids. There's no way they're not theater kids.
Oh my gosh. Whew. Why do I like it though?
I like it. I can't describe why I like it, I just do. It's boppy. Why are we Charlie XCX all of a sudden?
Like when the merry-go-round is going around. That's what that sounds like, but if you made it good instead of like terrifying after 8 spins.
This sounds like something in Yo Gabba Gabba in the best way.
This is Z-Sides.
Hey Pat, there's something I want to run by you. I'm thinking we can increase caller engagement with a little call-in game. Alright, here's what we do. Read a line on air, and then the callers have to guess if it's a lyric from a Midwest emo song, or if it's an excerpt from the manifesto written by a domestic terrorist.
Zach, that is a terrible idea. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think it's in bad taste.
Hear me out, ready? I don't really want to die, but why do I think about it all the time?
Obviously, that's a terrorist.
Nope, that's Wolfgang Fist by Charmer.
What?
How about this one? I'm both terrified of everything I am and everything I will never be.
There's no way that's not a terrorist.
Wrong again.
Damn. Well, at least you don't have a third unhinged lyric to drive your point home.
I'm a hostage to my own humanity.
I'm picking up a pattern that this is probably a lyric.
Oh, so you think it's a song lyric?
I mean, one of these has to be a terrorist. I'm gonna say terrorist.
Wrong, Reliant K.
Son of a bitch. Just because I lost the game doesn't mean it's not a terrible idea.
Hello caller, you're on the air with WINO. This is the Midnight Happy Hour.
Hello, I'd like to hear something by Yabadum, please.
By who?
Yabadum.
Yabadum who?
Yabadum?
Yeah, he keeps stammering.
No, he's requesting a song by Yabadum.
Will one of you start talking English and finish the freaking request?
So Yabadum.
Yabadum what?
Exactly. So that's their name. I found out, I had to do research to figure out that it's a pun.
Yeah, I learned that today.
Yeah. Problem with file retry. Okay.
Cool. And that was Yabadum.
And that was Yabadum. They formed in 2013 in Brooklyn. I think they were kind of fresh out of high school.
Oh, straight out of high school.
It feels like they were, it seems like they were pretty young. I don't have that exactly. So most of the information from this is going to be coming from an interview I found with them on brooklynpov.com. Now, when I say it's from the interview, I mean it is from the text introduction to the interview, because the SoundCloud interview they did no longer exists. The audio is gone.
But like the page for it is still up?
Yes, the page is there, and the introduction that the interviewer wrote is still there. Yabadum breaks down like this: Chris Rivera on the guitar and singing saw, Charlie Shine, I'm gonna say, it could also be Sheen, on the keyboard, Laszlo Horvath on the bass and the mic, Robbie Jenkins laying the beat down on the drums.
Okay.
They were active for about 4 years, 2013 to 2017. Laszlo and Charlie did most of the songwriting.
Okay.
They actually had a self-recorded, self-titled album in 2013 called Yabadum.
Is that the one on the Bandcamp?
It is on their Bandcamp.
Okay.
They haven't widely released it. I sent you a few songs off of that. But really, what we want to get to is Careful Kid, the EP they released in 2014.
Look at me, I'm such an animal, I'm incomplete.
It feels like a musical. It feels like it would be like at a kid's musical or something.
Look at me,
You know,
Never know how scared you'll grow to be.
I could totally, and like, you might not agree with this, but I'm a big 21 Pilots fan, and I feel like I could hear like some like hints of like influence from them.
Almost Talking Heads, kinda.
I feel like with different production, this could be a 21 Pilots song or something. I don't know how to explain it.
Those little synths in the background, so good. This is just like fun. Like it's a fun song, honestly.
It's like, I want to like go like this. I want to skip to it. I don't know. It's giving, not to make this all about 21 Pilots, it's giving like their first album a lot.
To be anything for you. I turn into a monster and scare myself to death. Oh, come the cosmos.
I don't know how to describe this, but it sounds like something that would be like popular on Tumblr, like in the early 2010s.
I like it. I can't describe why I like it, I just do. It's boppy.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Like very, very good. Yeah. I love when the like band joins in with him to do the backup vocals. It's like, oh, it's so good. Yeah. Overall, great song.
I feel like something about it has a very carnival aspect to it. That was wonderful. I think I'd listen to that if I needed to have a good day on a bad day.
That was cool. I liked it.
It just feels like if you made the like playhouse music. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when the merry-go-round is going around. That's what that sounds like, but if you made it good instead of like terrifying after 8 spins. So in my mind, I'm thinking, what's the show? I'm assuming grew up on. What's the show with the like guy with the big orange hat? I swear they had this name, similar to this name.
What was it?
All that's coming to mind is Wow Wow Wubsy, and that's not the right show.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I said earlier, it feels like it could be in like a kid's show. Like, I don't know. Like, what's the one with all the freaking people in the costumes? You know what I'm talking about?
Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yeah, I mean, this sounds like something in Yo Gabba Gabba in the best way. Okay, like that's not an insult. Yo Gabba Gabba rules.
It's fun. It's groovy.
Cosmos is, I played it for my girlfriend who is, very sort of, like when it comes to musical stuff, she likes people who can, really sing well and stuff that's a little more polished. It's very raw recording, and the vocals are very raw as well, and she liked it. It's just because a testament to, I think, how fun it is.
It's so fun. It came up with Emma a bit. It is organized chaos.
Mm-hmm.
It's all over the place, but it's very, the grooves are super tight. Everything just comes together.
Yeah, like the chorus on that one especially, like like where the gang vocals came in. A couple people talked about that. It's so much fun. It's like bouncy.
Yes, a lot of their music is bouncy, but yeah.
And talking about the like carnival jazz sort of thing, it makes sense. Like I feel like it's like bounce house rock. I don't know.
They call themselves Circus Jazz, and in some ways I can hear jazz, but in a lot of ways I don't.
They're pretty instrumentally proficient. Kind of like a Gorilla Toss situation, right? They started off as a jazz band. I don't think by any means they make jazz music, but the proficiency, that's where it can start from. Cosmos feels like it is the least jammy song, in my opinion. It feels like the one that's the most pre-thought out, premeditated, put together. And the lyrics in Cosmos are great too. A real song about, we kind of work ourselves to death almost. you know, you pull 10-hour shoot days. And you're like, why do we do this?
Why do we do this?
It's like, hey, the world sucks, but sort of lift yourself up by your bootstraps. Maybe not by your bootstraps, but lift yourself up, you know, lighten up, have a little fun.
When's the last time you heard a synth organ?
Yeah.
Not just a synth organ featured, a synth organ that is core to the sound.
Yes, yeah, that's the thing, is that this sounds like there's no overdubs. It is just, we recorded this and that's it. And that's awesome. That adds to the energy a lot.
And with all the tempo changes and everything, the musicianship is just so tight.
Absolutely. They're all really, really talented musicians. Winter.
So we move on to Winter. Chose Winter because it's their number one.
Yes.
Oh, that is very different.
The weirdest doo-wop group of all time.
You are the clock that wouldn't tick for me. It feels so right, but it ain't meant to be. So just don't say.
I love this. This is right up my alley.
You make it, you break it, even when you fake it. Oh,
Yeah, it's Circus Jazz. Yes, they get it.
You could tell they're just like a fun band. Like, this would be something you just, if you want to be in a good mood, listen to these guys.
I'm dancing. I like this.
Okay, sick. This one will go on my just a couple playlists, I think.
The second half is much better than the start of this.
This is also like, I don't know if you've listened to Rex Orange County, but it's kind of, do you know Rex Orange County? Kind of. I could hear like if he was influenced by something like this.
These guys have to be theater kids. There's no way they're not theater kids.
And that was Winter.
I really like that. And that was 2014?
Yes.
Okay. It's interesting because like, I guess like the production style, I expected it to be a lot older or something. And then, because like, if you think 2014, like Blurry Face came out in 2014, so, which is like a very different like production. I don't know, like it just sounds like a little like vintagey or something.
I'm not sure what the first half of that really did for the song. I think the second half was excellent. I really liked the variability, how much more drive it had. It felt like it had a lot more focus in the song. I liked the sentiment of it. Oddly enough, it reminds me of like 21 Pilots if it were jazzy in their Vessel era specifically.
I probably like that one more than the first one.
It's hard to say anything. It's just good music, you know, the way it, I don't know, it's so good. I definitely, that was less like kid song than the other one, but still good, really good.
I'm just gonna lock in at 18,000 listeners.
People really liked it overall.
Yeah. Understandably so.
I think the only critique really was, or the biggest critique was from Cam, who didn't really love the intro segment, which I get.
I mean, it makes sense that Winter is their most streamed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. It is perhaps the most palatable to a widespread audience, I guess.
It's the most accessible of their music, but there's also so many. That one's got a lot of little details that I just love. One of them is just that all the little things they do to punctuate the vocals, which I always think of the part where you are the clock that wouldn't tick for me, and the bass and the drum punctuate with, you know, each word in a way that doesn't feel forced. Like it's just, and it's so clean.
Just a little idea that they threw in there just to like spice it up. Yeah, and it's important that, we kind of, talk about, like, we're talking it up, we're hyping it up.
And then we get to Then we get to Yabadum, the album they released in 2017. It's
In the most bizarre turn of events.
It is everything that Careful Kid is not.
Okay, we are somewhere else now. We are in a completely different place.
Oh my gosh.
This is so different. Like,
A lot happened between 2014 and 2017. Why are we Charlie XCX all of a sudden? Whew.
Why do I like it though?
okay, that's cool. I'm not sure how I feel about the vocals in that first part yet, but this beat change is sick.
There's that keyboard synth with a high note again, just really love that pattern.
I would not think this was even the same band. Like, I would think this is a completely different artist.
Yeah, I don't know about the auto-tune, man. It's like rough. That instrumental is sick, though.
It's scratching my brain, this part. Like, with all the cymbals.
This is definitely a song you have to listen to a few times. Because it was just jarring hearing the other two and going to this. But the instrumental is incredible.
It's like experimental too. Like, it's definitely not as like melody driven, like fun, like upbeat, spunky, like their old stuff.
Like, it feels like they laid down the drum track first and they're like, let's build around that. Little beat change is so cool. It sounds like someone's hitting like trash cans or something.
That was plunky.
Yeah. I feel like the ending there, and like there were parts where I was like jamming, but it definitely was very different from before.
I think that was actually really enjoyable. Just, if you told me that they were different bands, I would have believed you. I do get that how they make music is actually very structurally the same. Like, the jazz aspect or the thought pattern of how they make jazz music, I think is still there. It feels similar, just with an entirely different set of sounds in music. They just listened to a lot of electronica before coming up with this. Well, before they were listening to a lot of, I don't know, Santa Baby?
It's like disgustingly produced. It's icky to me. It makes me feel gross.
I mean, as far as I could tell, it seems like they had been playing with recording these things in their apartment and probably planned to do a more thorough recording at some point. Whatever was happening with the band, and they just said, whatever, we'll just release what we have, is what seems like what happened there.
I have some experience in music production, and when you're learning, you're kind of like, oh, I'm gonna put reverb on this, and you're just like, you jack it up to 100, and you're like, yep, there's my reverb.
Yep, that is reverberating.
Yeah. Then you kind of learn like, oh, I can mix the wet and the dry signal. I can change the size of the space, the decay time, and you start to learn the intricacies. This sounds to me like a lot, especially the compression, like the drum compression. It sounds like they just discovered what compression was, and they slapped it on so heavy. Like, everything sounds like it is just, like the waveform just cuts off.
I think Alan was able to parse through it better than I have after several listens.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, the instruments are still really cool here.
I remember I listened to it for the first time with headphones on, and like I got about, I would say, 3/4 of the way through, and I just had to take my headphones off and take a break because my ears were just like, what are you doing? It's an ear patience testing record, in my opinion.
It's, I'd say for the most part, just skip it. The reason I sent you some of the stuff from their Bandcamp that's not more widely released is
I've been waiting.
Is that stuff was also self-recorded and self-produced, the stuff that I sent you. So clearly they have some level of music recording experience. It's shocking when you hear what they were able to do and then what they did later. So that's kind of where I get to this point where I'm wondering if the band was on dire straits and they were like, well, let's just throw this out there before it doesn't exist.
Because you can't find anything on them, is what you've been saying. They
hardly
exist.
They are
Information on them, at least.
Yeah.
Yet they have like a fair amount of
decent
listeners.
following.
Yeah, they have a decent following.
For a band that existed for 4 years and had 2 wide releases, yeah.
Unless they have like 600 alternate accounts.
6,000 alt accounts, yeah.
The first one you sent me was Worm Water.
Caught in the trap of the voyeur. You relate to my days.
That one sounds like a middle ground between the two. Like you can kind of hear it leaning towards Yabadum, but it still has the sort of like soul of the Careful Kid stuff. It's fine to good. Kind of sounds like they're trying to lean into trends of the time, which, you know, not that it's in itself a bad thing, but it doesn't work for me personally with their sound. And then the other thing, I have a note in here that says, the middle of Worm Water sounds like if a rock band tried to perform a dubstep song live.
Yeah, they have a crazy breakdown in the middle where it's just like, all right.
And other than that, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, Worm Water is certainly not my favorite, but I felt that it was important to show you that a snip, you know, that single, and then a snippet of the original self-titled Yabadum, because they self-recorded that stuff. At some point, they forgot how to record music. I think I told you this. They had an album that's like 2 hours of unreleased SoundCloud samples that they were like, here you go.
Yep.
And I didn't listen. I listened to like 10 minutes of that because after 10 minutes, you know, it's all just demos.
It sounds like they either, you know, they couldn't continue because they fell apart, or maybe it was just like, hey, you know, we're busy doing other musical projects, or, you know, it was like, hey, these two guys, you know, it's like, hey, it was fun, but like, I have an engineering degree now, and I'm gonna go work for NASA, and, you know, I'm moving to California, you know, to go to Silicon Valley, and it's like, okay, well, so it was just like, well, here's the stuff we did, and released it, and I mean, that would make sense, and it's respectable to a degree. But my thought is like, you know, it's not like you're rushing to get the next release done if the band doesn't exist. You can take your time to
polish it up.
Yeah. You could take another year. You've waited 3 years. What's 4 gonna hurt, you know?
I'm cross-referencing their Bandcamp bio with this one article I found. I scoured their subreddit and there were like 6 posts.
Again, this band hardly exists.
Yeah. So 2016, most of their social media accounts went silent. And they weren't really promoting the band. They were just kind of like slice of life tweets and things like that. In 2017, or after Yabadum released, basically it was exclusively used for social political activism in New York City. A lot of like protest organizing, you know, very, you know, there was a lot of social, for people who are, you know, cognizant adults, there was a lot of social change during that era. A lot of policy changes that had people, especially in New York City, concerned about things. So I don't know if that was a factor in them breaking up. I can't say that there's evidence that it is. I don't know why whichever band member was in charge of the Facebook account just decided, I'm going to use this solely for political organizing. It literally just, links to GoFundMe's or flyers for, hey, there's a rally tomorrow, with no mention of the band after Yabadum.
Weird.
And it went on like that for probably maybe 6 months plus.
They're an anomaly.
They're weird, yeah.
Because you have that one really good project bookended by stuff that, either shows promise or shows
Thoughts.
Yeah. Ideas.
Yeah. They feel jam bandy, but not too jam bandy.
Yeah, I had described them when I first heard them as, it sounds like your local band in your city that, plays everywhere. They sound like your local, jam band sort of deal, but they do it really well.
The most tuned up, dialed in version of that. Yeah. They've perfected that sound.
It reminds me a lot of Peach Pit. If you're familiar with this.
I don't know Peach Pit.
It reminds me of Peach Pit or Hippocampus, which is this kind of trendy, millennial is a bad word, but it's this trendy sort of pop rock that's out now. It's kind of hipstery music, but Peach Pit, Give Up Baby Go by them, it kind of feels in the same vein, and that's a good song. Okay. Or The Way It Goes by Hippocampus. It sounds like they were accidentally ahead of this trend by a fair couple of years.
Oh, you're on my mind, I'm in your shadow, waiting patiently for a pair of big hands.
Yeah, they do sound, it sounds fresh now, which is great. We want to just talk about Mountain Man and
because
some of our favorites.
I have just Mountain Man. Mountain Man is a ton of fun. It's the da-da-da-das towards the end. It sounds like something that I can imagine you're in a venue with, 50 people and everybody is shouting along. It just gives that small, Brooklyn sort of club energy to me. It almost, and it's, the other thing is, it almost feels like a folk song in the way that it tells a story, and there's a moral to it, and but it's not a folk song at all at the same time. It's just really interesting. It's super fun.
Company is better off someplace else, and you should have stayed home.
I know you don't love Look Alive. In terms of an album intro song, I absolutely love it.
I listened to it today on the drive. It grew on me.
It's such a fun way, again, to introduce you to the band, to introduce you to the sound. I think it does it super well.
Oh, just look alive, you got yourself surrounded.
Ball and Chain's good.
I really like Ball and Chain. Ball and Chain is one of my favorites.
It's just, it's the whole EP is 23 minutes, I want to say.
Yeah.
It's the perfect, I'm going on a short car ride.
Just pop it on, have some fun.
Of other random mention, I really liked Little Rooms off the original Yabadum.
That was the, of the other stuff you sent me, was the best one.
Just you and I in a sudden burst, we got here by ourselves. An anomaly, one out of a million just to sell.
I almost think if they had one more good song and then Little Rooms, they have a full-length album instead of Careful Kid.
Yeah. Well,
Careful Kid could have been.
That's another important thing to know is that Careful Kid, the EP,
is longer than the full. full-length album
By about a
of
whole
Yabadum. Yeah, it's
The band has less than an hour of music on Spotify.
yeah.
Total. Like it's really weird.
they have like 5 hours if you're not picky and count the SoundCloud samples.
And yeah, in terms of like Yabadum, Car Ad, it's like the second song on there.
That one's fine.
I described it. It sounds the most like old Yabadum, just put through like a weird like meat grinder sort of filter. Or like it sounds like it was recorded in like an actual tin can. You know, sounds like it was recorded by like, you know, when you have two soup cans tied together by a string.
Tin can phone, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they use as a microphone.
Everything sounds like it's recorded in a trash can underwater, with auto-tune.
It's intense, and we are kind of talking smack on this thing, but like seriously, we still like the band. Like the Careful Kid is well worth a listen.
The problem is if you release a 3 out of 10 after a 9 out of 10, the 3 out of 10 looks even worse.
It's unidentifiable when you get to.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like growth. It feels like they've lost the lead.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like I could totally vibe to that, like, first EP. If they only put out these 2 things, I feel like they, like, started to experiment a little too quick. Like, if they were, like, trying to be big, which some people don't want to be big, but if they wanted, like, commercial success, I feel like it was too early to go for PLUNK, like we haven't even established the whole Circus Jazz thing yet.
I think their most popular song is something that I could see myself listening to again. The rest, it's not that it's bad, when am I gonna be in the mood for that jazz ensemble?
All right, now we get to play the game. I know you had already kind of locked in at 18,000, but are you sticking with 18,000?
I'll go 17.
17 now.
The monthly listeners were like, nah, I don't with this anymore.
I would assume, since they're like a little bit more like, I don't want to say quirky, but like, they have a very specific sound, so I'm going to say they're less than the first band. I'm going to say like 20. I would say like 15,000.
I'm guessing they have like 5K.
They have 39.6 monthly, 39.6 thousand monthly.
Oh, they're way more popular than I thought. Okay, cool. That's cool. They're a cool band. It was one of those bands I felt like, because there's a lot of cool bands like that just don't really have any listeners or anything. So
I think that's wild that they're getting that many streams off one EP from 2014. And I mean, I guess like that last one too, but I don't know. Like how many people are listening to the PLUNK thing compared to the first EP? I like that they're chaotic and they make no sense.
And the last thing, the lead singer Laszlo Horvath, I'm not sure which, went on to start another band afterwards called Laszlo in Hidden Strength. And it's fine. It's no Careful Kid, but it is there if someone loves that EP and just
for more.
And is itching for more. That he doesn't do the vocals as chaotically, his. You know what I mean? Where he's up, he's down, he's all over the place.
Which is fun.
It's fine. This is more of a straight. This is played a little bit more straight-laced.
The other thing too is like Alan seemed to enjoy PLUNK. He had some things to say about it, but people still seem to enjoy it. So maybe it's up your alley.
I think everyone we showed it to received PLUNK more graciously than we did.
I think the issue for us with PLUNK was PLUNK is the very last song on the album. So by the time you and I get to PLUNK, you've been through the ringer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs on that album, and a lot more downs than ups, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the moral of the story is Careful Kid is well worth your 20 minutes. In the time that you've spent watching this album, this episode, you could have just listened to the album.
Yes.
What are you doing here?
And you should, because it really is worth the listen. It's
fantastic. Unique, it's fun, and it rings a lot of it. Like with your girlfriend, with my wife, I've been able to share it with people who normally wouldn't listen to anything that sounds like this, because there's not a lot that sounds like it. But it's weird, but it's somehow accessible.
Yeah, it wins people over, I think.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, like I wouldn't normally listen to this. It happens to win people over, which is good. It's great.
Yabadum is great.
Yeah, but what?
Exactly. Do we have an out in there?
Be careful, kid. It's the best I got. I'm so tired.
All right.
If I was Buzz, this would be killing it. This feels aggressively 2009.
It feels like something that would be like a TikTok trend.
I don't want to say what I was supposed to